Today's topic on Critical Insights: risk management and critical infrastructure. How can we effectively assess and manage risks in critical infrastructure operations?
So there's quite a bit going on with risk assessments and risk management in any organization, but in critical infrastructure, it's of the utmost importance. I think one of the things that we forget is that we do know how to do risk in critical infrastructure. We know how to do financial risks very, very well. It comes to the other things that are more difficult. Cybersecurity and physical security are the two primary challenges for risk assessment, and trying to manage those effectively. We tend to, as an industry, treat them differently. Treat it as the ugly stepchild, so to speak. So one of the ways you can effectively do that is to bring those disciplines that you already do for financial and operational risk management, bring those to bear to those environments. And that means managing it, tracking it, have good metrics, good KPIs that you can measure where you're at. In security, you're measuring what? You're measuring vulnerabilities, you're measuring threats, you're measuring that entire picture of what could happen. And then you're making decisions based on that, prioritize those risks, and establish a program that maps to the way you think about other things, operational planning and your finance side. So you really need to put those all together too. And I often talk about a triangle of risks where you have your operational risk, you have your financial risk, and then here you have your security risks. And they all play together because it's a priority. In the middle, there's a big R, and that's your overall risk. So you have to put those all into context, but you can't manage security risk unless you're measuring it. So you got to measure it. That's one way to do it effectively.
What is the role of technology in risk assessment and management?
So technology plays a huge role in our risk management practices, and we utilize this in different parts of our company. We have risk management programs, and we have risk management and risk assessment processes for finance and operation. We think about that in those contexts, and for larger organizations, they have these big programs that do enterprise risk management, ERMs. In cybersecurity, you have that same discipline. So the technology can play multiple roles. More in the physical and cybersecurity role is you're collecting data. You got to collect those facts. So you have to have those log management systems, those SIMs out there. You're collecting these details. You have to have these centralized data collectors for your physical security access points. You have to have that knowledge base brought in so you can make informed decisions. So technology is what collects that information. Technology also plays a role of analyzing that, and if we had a little bit more time, we talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning that could play in a role in that. The fact of bringing that information together into a technology tool that can make it easier to read and easier for us humans to understand and analyze and be able to react on that, and that is a huge factor. Another thing, cybersecurity is a big role on this one, is automating some of your cybersecurity assessments, doing cybersecurity vulnerability assessments, and even your risk assessments against standard bodies like the NIST CSF. Those tools can really play a big factor into helping you get that data normalized and understood so you can ultimately make those risk decisions.
How can organizations prepare for unexpected risks?
One of the things about risks is that they sometimes show up when you least expect them. You don't know when those are going to come, so you have to prepare for those. So some of the risk assessment you're doing are what-if scenarios. You're doing things to say, what if this happened? What if this broke? What if this fell down? What if this tool didn't exist? What if these people didn't exist? What if I had a hole in the ground appear and all my technology fell down into it and I couldn't use it anymore? My whole data center collapsed. There's a lot of what if playing that you have to do. So that role playing is sometimes difficult for people to do because they go, well, that'll never happen. Well, by playing those it'll never happen kind of scenarios, you're exercising, your risk management thought process, your risk management intelligence. You're getting to a part where you can start prioritizing some of those risks, but you also can play into, what if it did happen? What should we do? What would we need to be able to recover? And it's all about the recovery, especially in critical infrastructure. So being able to test and exercise. So part of risk management for that is having an incident response plan that covers all these different things so you can recover. So you have to have those plans, and by building those plans based on real risks, even those what if risks, those hard to think of ever happening risks, you're starting to build that capability. And it's about building the capability to react and manage these what ifs.
Can you discuss some best practices for risk management in the sector?
Best practices in our sector, in the energy sector, for risk management assessment is foundationally established on having a good program. You have to build a program that is sustainable, is effective, has the right controls built in and processes that are repeatable and measurable. That is the number one thing that you have to do for these risk assessments, and it's the ultimate best practice. The other thing is staffing it correctly. This is not a one-man show for most organizations in the energy sector. It takes people that have knowledge and understanding of the disciplines throughout the organization, so you need to properly staff that so you are able to build that risk portfolio, that risk picture properly, and that is another really good best practice, is to have those talented people involved. The last thing is discipline, and building that is built on leadership. So a best practice is to have it be a top-down kind of approach. If you don't have top-down support for a risk management program, you're probably not going to be successful. Number one is you have to have the foundational program established. Number two, you have to have the leadership buy-in, and number three, you need the talent. So if you liked everything that you heard here today, keep us in mind. We're Archer Energy Solutions. This is what we do. We live and breathe critical infrastructure security, physical and cyber, and operational and planning. It is our life. It is what we have built our entire organization around, and we're excited to be able to help anyone that needs any help. Give us a call.
If you need assistance protecting your critical infrastructure, reach out and contact Archer today.